calls her name all the time.
How is her dad running back and forth from?
He's good physically.
Is he?
Very good, yeah.
Because when I talked to them, it was like an hour's ride from the rehab to the condos.
It was a lot. It was a lot. A lot of work.
So yeah. When did?
Friends, I'm going to invite everyone under the tent if you would like. Immediate mourners, if you could find seats, please. I'm going to give you, I'm going to wait.
I'm just gonna sweat and cry. That's okay.
Well, I've got one
We won't be able to tell whatever it is. It's just gonna be coming out all the pores.
Just sit on it.
Yeah, you sit on it.
Sit on it.
Sit on it. It's too hot.
What is it?
Just a bed.
Perfect. Okay.
You want water or you okay?
I'm okay.
Sir, we're going to go ahead and get started.
Handkerchief.
Hey. Okay, well, there's family that isn't here yet, but
Who's not
I
here?
think we should start and get over it. It's so hot.
Who's not here?
What do you think?
We're on time. It's 12:03.
Wow, you guys always want to get tired.
Anybody see any cars pulling up still?
Steve will be here soon. Go ahead with all of them.
Okay, Lauren, what do you think? Look at that. So hot.
Gentlemen, if you want to have a seat, the live stream is right now.
Where's Blake?
We are about to begin the service for Mrs. Roberta Weintraub. Please note, if you have a cellular phone, I'd ask you to please turn it to the off position. Our service is being live streamed, and we welcome those who are on the live stream. Officiating our service today will be Rabbi Michael Davis.
Your family and friends with us on live stream. Those who are on live stream may not know what you can all see here is that it's really a family plot, right? It's going back what, 6 decades and more, right? The Steinbergs, I think the Shevitzes, right? This is really a historic place for your family, and brings to life the biblical passage. She was laid to rest with her ancestors, with her family. And it's truly a place that you've been to many times, and I hope it's a comfort that this is this place of family, of many cherished memories, and many loved ones that your mom, your wife, your grandmom, your friend, Roberta Weintraub, is joining. So we begin with ancient words of comfort, words that have provide consolation to countless generations. Perhaps the most beloved of all the Psalms in the Hebrew Bible and the Tanakh, the 23rd Psalm, which you can find in the inside panel of the handout that you received as we gathered. If you're with us on live stream, feel free to Google or to search for whatever translation you like. I'll chant it in the traditional Hebrew as a prayer, and then invite us to join in together to read it together in the English that's provided. Adonai Eloi lo echsar bino deshe yarbitzeni al mei menuchot Nafshi yeshovev, yancheni v'magle tzedek, yancheni v'magle tzedek, leman shemo. Gam ki elech begeit al mavet lo irara ki ata imadi shivtecha umishanetecha Hema yenachamuni. Let us read together the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. I'd like to reflect on one word here. I chanted the traditional Hebrew with all its richness and mystery, and we read the English translation. But I think about this one word that doesn't quite come across, which I'd like to expound on a little bit with your permission. That's the word I will dwell. Because the Hebrew that I chanted for that, just as we finished, was Veshavti, which is very close to the Hebrew for I will dwell, but just a little bit off. See if you can hear the difference. The Hebrew word for I will dwell is not Veshavti, but the Yashavti. You hear the extra Ya that comes in there? Very close, but a little different. So what does Veshavti mean? It means I will return. I will return. So you can see why the translation that we've received and used and is familiar on the tongue and in the ear is I will dwell. Because what does it mean to say I will return in the house of the Lord? Doesn't make any sense, right? You return to, and once you're there, you dwell in. And that's why we have I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, very familiar. But But what if there is an additional piece of wisdom to unpack in the Hebrew that doesn't quite work, and that's why it has to be changed? Because as we go through our mortal journey, we will inevitably fall away from the path that we chart. Whatever that is, if it's physical health, there'll be times of sickness. If it's emotional well-being, there are times when we'll be distressed, or all sorts of feelings and moods and whatever occupies our mind. In our relationships are broken and strained. In our integrity, we sometimes do things that we need to come back from and apologize and find the way back. And so when those times inevitably come, what we can hope for is to have houses of the Lord, places which we have set in store in advance, within which we can return to the path that we charted to our better selves. And that can be all manner of things. I mean, traditionally it's houses of worship, but nowadays that's not the case for most people. It can be family, music, friends, the great outdoors, fishing, whatever it is. We have those places within which we come back. We come back to ourselves. And perhaps the wisdom is, as we grow and add years to our lives, is that we bounce back just a little bit quicker to that path. We just take advantage of the time. So my hope and prayer for you is that this is one such house of the Lord, one such place within to dwell together for a time now, and within which to begin to return, to heal, to come back. Let us take a few moments together for private reflections, memories, a prayer if you like. Let's take a few moments of silence together. Let us come back together out of our silence to be together with a prayer for peace. Or say shalom, it's on the back panel above the Chicago Jewish Funerals logo. The last 2.5 lines or so with that big O. I'll lead you in song and invite you to join in. As I like to say, if you know it, sing out loud. And if you don't, just fake it along with me. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו, אמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו, ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. The family has words to share. As I told them, traditionally, Judaism does not expect anybody to get up and speak. Just being here is the mitzvah and plenty and enough dayenu. But the words that need to be said, they want to say. So, Chai, you want to speak? You want to stay there? Or I can bring you with the microphone. You want to get up?
Can everybody hear me? I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to tell you, Reevy was a wonderful, wonderful wife and a wonderful mother. And I have 3 sons and their daughter and wife that were wonderful to me. During this period of stress, it was very rough the last couple of weeks, and Reevy is better off where she is now because she was starting to suffer. Everybody who was there, like Cody, every day would go and see her, watch her fade away. It was rough. But she was a wonderful woman, a wonderful wife, and my boys have been fantastic to me. They helped save everybody. I want to thank everybody for showing up in this heat and coming to this funeral. And I wish Reevy's happy where she's at now, because she was starting to suffer terrible. But God bless her, she was a wonderful woman. Everybody here who knows her, the grandkids are all wonderful, and they've really been good to me. So I want to thank everybody. And thanks for coming and putting up with the heat. Thank you. My balance is bad.
Lyle, Glenn, and Lane.
First, let me say thank you to everybody for coming today in this heat, both near and far. Roberta, Bobby, Reevy, Rivka, Steinberg, Weintraub. A woman too great to ever be called one name. But to me, she was just mom. She lived a life full of joy and pain. She had 4 children, Lauren, Lyle, Glenn, and me. By the time I arrived, she had already lived through more unimaginable loss than anyone should. Once I was old enough to understand, she had already unknowingly taught me the most important lesson I think I ever learned in life, and that's perseverance. She had tons of friends: Faith, Joni, Helene, just to name a few. I am sure her sisters Ines and Myrna are besides themselves with grief, but she wouldn't want that. She would say, "Don't put a question mark where God put a period. Try to find some joy in each day. Today it will be difficult, but until we meet again to enjoy some kugel and some Swedish meatballs, I love you, Mom." Thank you, everyone.
Again, I just wanted to thank all of you for coming. Those of you that knew my mother knew she never had a bad word to say about anybody. She was always positive. She always saw the positivity and the good in everybody. That's who she was. And again, later today we'll talk about some of the good times and celebrate all the great memories we had with her. And we got a lot of family here today because of her. And again, thank you guys all for coming. We appreciate it.
So I cannot top those words. I think they were coined perfectly. But I also love my mother. And I think that her joy was her family, her friends, and she showed that to us through her life. She never asked for anything. She cooked, cleaned, and took us to places, took us to school, devoted her life to us. Unfortunately, in her life, she had twists and turns like everybody else, and some of her joys were taken away. But I think that she really tried to show us that through all of it, she tried to maintain relationships and do the best she could. And we all love her for that. And thank you all for coming. Thank you.
And representing the grandchildren, Kayla.
All right. That's the lower it for the shorty. Okay, bear with me here. This is really hard for me to say. When you're young, your grandparents feel like they'll be around forever. You complain about going to their house for a visit, the food they make you try, like liver and onions or gefilte fish. And the silly questions they ask you multiple times, like if you've met any nice Jewish boys lately. Then one day that mindset changes. I'm not exactly sure when, but one day it becomes apparent that they aren't going to be there forever. I like to think that Revi and I had a special relationship. I was the oldest and the first grandchild. We loved to shop and chat about fashion and jewelry, gossip about our friends and boys. We'd celebrate our birthdays together every year, which are 3 days apart, with a dinner, and we'd make our birthday wish at the same time. My fellow fire sign with a much different approach and demeanor. Revi had a quiet strength about her. She handled everything life threw at her with grace, never an outward complaint or negative word. She bit her tongue and took it in stride, the good, the bad, the ugly. She fought through her trials and tribulations with a smile on her face while putting everyone's needs above her own. I would even call her to ask about dialysis or how she was feeling, and it wouldn't be 2 seconds before she was changing the subject and asking me how I was doing, how work was, what my friends were up to lately. She truly made you feel like she was your number one cheerleader and biggest support. She'd call you a movie star or the prettiest person in the room and made you feel like you can conquer anything. Throughout life, I've learned that things tend to come full circle. Revi took care of everyone here, whether she raised you, she was your grandmother, or another family member, or a longtime friend. And in return, I'm proud and thankful to say that everyone also here helped to take care of her towards the end of her life. Whether it was a phone call to catch up, brushing her hair, getting her dressed, listening to Julio in the shower, and everything else in between. I know she was thankful for that, and I'm thankful it gave us some extra time together and a couple extra funny stories to laugh about along the way, and now in her memory. Sorry. I'll carry her with me in the way I'll strive to put others' needs before my own, the way I'll push to fight to live another day spent with friends and family, and the way I'll give all my love out into the world. I hope you come visit me in my dreams, and as my neighborhood cardinal bird that I often look for. I'll think about you when I shop, have every birthday celebration, use a dinner plate. She got me mine when I moved into my first apartment. See a Dancing with the Stars commercial, and eat a piece of watermelon. I miss you already, and I'll love you for always. But like everybody else said here, it's time that she can rest easy without any pain. And it's not goodbye, but I'll see you later. I love you so much.
Thank you. And what a wonderful prayer. I've never heard that before, but so beautiful. I hope you'll visit me in my dreams. Such a sweet, sweet prayer. I'd like to offer a song to take in these words. And this song is usually associated with happy occasions, but a lot of happy occasions were just mentioned, and many more to celebrate. And it really is looking back and looking forward. Please join in on the refrain. Is this the little girl I carried? Is this the little boy at play? I don't remember growing older. When did they? When did she get to be a beauty? When did he grow to be so tall? Wasn't it yesterday when they were small? Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly flow the day. Seedlings turn overnight to sunflowers, blossoming even as we gaze. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly fly the years. One season following another, laden with happiness and tears. There really isn't anything to add except to say in your words. You know, professionally for a while she was a phlebotomist, and every one of us has had blood taken at some point, and we know what it's like to be on the receiving end of a needle. And what you want in somebody on the other end of the needle is precision and care, right? I remember once I was getting dental treatment and the painkiller wasn't really working, and I must have been flinching because the dentist suddenly stopped and said, "Believe me, I get no pleasure from your pain." And actually felt better after that. So sustain yourself in such a profession where you are putting needles into people. You have to be good at your job, and people have to know that you care, that they'll take it from you. And from what all you've told of the stories of your mom, your wife, your grandmom, that all makes sense, that she brought all that to every aspect of her life. Married for 65 years, 65 years, it's worth repeating, and struggled, as he said at the end. And for those who haven't been near kidney dialysis, it feels like a miracle cure to extend people's lives with kidney failure. And it is, but it's also incredibly difficult. And she showed fortitude through all that. Finally, in your words, she's been laid to rest right in front of your sister, your daughter, her daughter. And you said, God got an angel. And with those words of sweetness and blessing, we bid farewell. We turn to the closing prayers, to the El Maleh Rachamim. May her memory be an enduring blessing. You can find the El Maleh in the handouts beneath the 23rd Psalm. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamtzei Menucha Nechana, Tachat Chanfei HaShechina, Im Kadoshim Utoirim, Kezohar HaRakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Yakiratenu Shalcho Li'olamo. Lochein Bal Rachamim, Yastireho Beseter Knafav Leolamim, Veitzror Bitzror Achayim, Et Nishmato, Adonai Hu Nachalato, V'tanuach v'shalom al mishkavah, V'nomar Amen. O God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest beneath the sheltering wings of thy presence, among the holy and pure who shine as the brightness of the firmament, and to the soul of Roberta Weintraub, who has gone unto eternity. Adonai of mercy, bring her under the cover of thy wings, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life, be God's possession, and may her repose be peace. And we say, Amen. In a few moments, we'll have the opportunity to perform the final ritual, which everybody is invited to participate in. That's the adding dirt to the burial, being a partner in the burial. It's an ancient tradition, and everybody will be invited up. But before that, we have our final words, a prayer that we take with us from this time on to say at family gatherings and other times, at prayers in the next 11 months. It's the Kaddish, which you can find on the back panel of the handout. It's called the Mourner's Kaddish, but there's not one word of grief or sadness in it. In fact, the comfort perhaps comes from it not dwelling on that, but bring a prayer of affirmation. It's a very old prayer in an old Jewish language, Aramaic, and it's a set of beliefs in the divine as people understood them way back then. So I invite you to take those in or to affirm that which is true and enduring for you at this time. And I'll lead the mourners in saying the Kaddish, and everybody else, your job is to answer Amen with me. There are 4 places where there's Amen, as you can see on the sheet. The cue is Ve'imru. I invite you to call out as loudly as you feel comfortable, so the family hears the warmth and strength of your beautiful voices, embracing them as you are enveloping them right now. And to take any guesswork out of it, I will raise my hand as we approach the Amen. So you can either look at the page, at me, or both, and come back with the Amens. So if you're able to stand, do so. If not, you can remain seated. And then we'll go straight from there to the grave, so they won't have to sit down again in between. Yitkada v'yitkadash shemei rabba, be'alma divarach yi'utei v'yamich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala u'v'zman kariv ve'imru Amen. Yehei shmei rabba mevarach le'alam u'le'almei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'halal shmei d'kudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma ve'imru Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mumav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Oseh shalom b'mumav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru Amen. I'll begin by adding soil from the Mount of Olives, this ancient Jewish cemetery on the hillside in the heart of Jerusalem, overlooking shrines that are sacred to billions of people around the world and holy to the Jewish people for thousands of years. Perhaps speaks of our common humanity that we can feel most keenly at a time like this right now. The tradition is to take 3 scoops of earth. The size doesn't really matter, it's just symbolic. And if there's anybody you know of, people who are with us on live stream who couldn't be with us, and you want to represent them, those of you who are here, that's a beautiful thing to add to that. So they are represented in this moment by your participation. So we invite the family to come first, and then everybody else is welcome to join. There are 2 shovels, so feel free to go around and take from either one.
Friends, for those who are present and those that are online, memorial contributions can be made to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. That address, for those of you who are present, is on the folder. For those of you who are online, that address is on our website. At this time, the live stream will conclude.